Right now, as we do every Wednesday at this time, we speak with the chairman of the Government Operations Committee of the County Board of Legislators. Here is Catherine Borgia. Good morning, ma'am.
Hello, good morning.
How are you?
I am well. How are you?
I'm all right. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm better than Harry Reid and the rest of them down there. Do you guys, there is just such a disgusting juggernaut. Well, forget it. I'm not going to get into it with you. It's not your problem, Washington. But it's just, it's amazing. We get 3 months of rhetoric, and the people spewing the rhetoric are the ones who drop the ball. It's amazing. They spent 3 months vilifying their opposition, and then they're the ones who squash it. It's amazing. It's tragedy. Anyway, that is Washington. You are Westchester. What is on your radar this morning, Catherine Borgia?
Well, we had an interesting meeting yesterday in the Government Operations Committee. You talked a little bit about, we learned about the delays for the Playland Boardwalk.
Yeah.
And that sort of was compounded by last week's news that the ice casino repairs have also been delayed, quite a bit.
Right.
So I think we should all be united in getting our acts together and making sure that these things happen on schedule so that we don't turn into a dysfunctional place. I think, especially for local government, we really impact people's lives, and it's really incumbent on us to make sure that we're doing the things that we need to do very, very well, including keeping our infrastructure up to date, making repairs after a big storm, keeping things going. Another interesting thing that we did talk about, it was a Playland heavy meeting, as many of them are. We did have Standard Amusements come in for one final time to answer some questions that the committee had. That was an interesting presentation. We're at the place now where we've stopped gathering information, and we're going to start doing some real comparative analysis.
Mm-hmm.
So that should be interesting. But we did talk about bridge strikes. I know you and I have spoken about bridge strikes last week when there was one. So I did have the Public Safety Department come in, and it was very interesting. We, after the conversation, we had a conversation about this late fall last year, and they did paint those warning signs. You had to work with the New York State DOT, which is not an easy process. There's a lot of bureaucracy in the Department of Transportation in the state. So
sure.
They painted on several of these warning signs, and they did track what had happened over the past, I guess it was about 5 months, 4.5 months, and they did see a 50% reduction in bridge strike.
Mm-hmm.
So that obviously is one component to it. And then we discussed, some of the other ideas. What kind of signage? We were talking about the chains. Mm-hmm. What kind of, are they an effective tool? And our Public Safety Department, I guess the DOT has been pretty adamantly against those for a long time, but they have agreed apparently, working with Westchester Public Safety and New York City Public Safety and a bunch of other people regionally to revisit that. So if we can have maybe those indicators at critical exits and entryways into our parkways to tell people that that there are low bridges there, because the interesting thing that happened with the decrease in bridge strikes was it was almost all commercial vehicles that had decreased. So the problem now, it seems to me, is that it's people driving like the rented Penske trucks and things like that. People who aren't truckers, who don't necessarily think about those things because they're just driving a truck because they're moving or because that it's a one-off kind of a thing. Right. So there's maybe a cheaper way of doing it, which is great, by doing public information with our rental truck company. So it was interesting. In government, you always try to find the best, the easiest, the cheapest solution that's going to get you the results that you wanted.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, so, anyway, moving forward.
Yeah, we shall see. It's 8:40. Yeah. It's 8:40, talking to Catherine Borgia. She heads up the Government Operations Committee of the County Board of Legislators. It's 8:40. It's 31 degrees outside on the first day of spring. I've been getting all these press releases about the budget and about what's going on and services and yesterday Mr. Harcum brought it up, and I continue to get the email press releases and everything. I saw your photo there at the press event they had. What's your take on all this?
Well, I came into government basically from volunteer work, so I'm very familiar with some of these issues. I've always been an advocate for high quality child care. I've worked with hungry and homeless. I've worked with domestic violence. So to me, there's not only a social compact that I think we all share in Democrats and Republicans alike, and I think most people are good-hearted and people of goodwill and want to see our society be a good one where people can flourish. But I also come to it from, I have a pretty extensive business background, so I also come to it from an economic point of view. Putting more money in early, preventative money, almost always saves money coming out the back end. And the reality is, I'll just touch on child care. That's one issue that's particularly dear to my heart, which is that statistics have shown for 20 years, this is not new stuff. This is not like airy-fairy, we hope this is the case. This is hard numbers. Yeah. That every dollar spent on quality early childhood education prevents the need to spend $17 down the road till that child is 21. So that's in terms of reducing teen pregnancy, reducing drug and alcohol use, reducing juvenile delinquency. So to me, I understand that times are hard. I really, really, really do. And my goal in government is to do government in a smart and efficient way so that we have the resources. So let me ask you this then, Kath.
Sure. Ms. Borgia. So when you had
call me Catherine.
Okay, well, Ms. Legislator, the Honorable.
Well, if you go with titles,
Your Eminence.
Call me Her Royal Highness.
Yeah, okay, all right. So let me ask you this then: if there's all this kerfuffle about the budget, we can't lose sight of the fact that you guys had a chance to vote on the budget and you walked out of the room.
Yeah, I think it was. Let me say, it was a bad day at the legislature. I'm not going to deny that. Yeah. We walked out of the room with the and I'm not a pretty straightforward person. We walked out of the room really hoping that. We thought that the meeting was adjourned. It didn't turn out that was legally the case, but we really walked out of the room hoping. We did have a couple of days left, hoping that we could go back, put some money back in some do a compromise budget. There were other forces, and I this is politics. I don't criticize people for executing strategy well, even if it's strategy or policy that I don't agree with. I applaud that, frankly, because I think that's what you need to do to succeed. So they executed their strategy very well. Where I will criticize them, though, is that the budget that was passed by the 9 legislators, it didn't completely take into account everything that the government does, in fact, need to do. So as we go along, you'll see that it happened this week. We looked at a couple of measures that basically were forgotten to put into the budget, things that we actually have to do. Our pest management program, our charter revision committee, which has been working for 2 years. We can't defund it now, 6 months before they come up with their report. So you'll see when a process happens in that way, in a way that is somewhat hasty and for political reasons. And again, I'm not saying that as criticism, because I think that things like this happen on both sides of the aisle. Don't get me wrong, but it's not always the most well thought out budget. And to me, for what my goals are for being in government, that's problematic, because I think we need to be smart about how we use our government. Most people rely on government in ways that they're not even thinking about. You rely on government to police the roads, to keep our infrastructure in shape, to handle our water treatment and sewage treatment, and to provide the social safety net that we do need. We do not want to have a lost generation of children who are not properly educated. We do not want to have homeless increase in our county. None of us want that. So, again, I'm not really being critical about this, but what I'm saying is, we all have to work together to make government work in a smart way so that it can provide the things that we want government to provide.
All right, well, that's very well put. And again, it sounds to me, and I've always gotten this inkling about you, that when those folks got up and scooted out of that room, I wasn't there, but I never saw any tape, but why would I imagine you were like the last one to get up and leave? Why would I imagine that you went, oh God, are we really doing this? Oh God. Anyway, no response necessary from you.
Good.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, okay. Yeah. All right. Why do I think the person who cooked that up, the last name rhymes with Rankins? Okay, listen, I'm going to let you go. Have yourself a great day, Madam Legislator, Her Eminence and Royal Highness Catherine Borgia. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of the day.
Take care. You too.
Be good. Bye-bye now.